Football, known as soccer in some parts of the world like the United States and Canada, is the most popular sport on the planet, played and loved by billions of people across every continent, from small dusty streets to the grandest stadiums. Its history is a rich tapestry that stretches back thousands of years, long before the modern rules were established in the 19th century. Early versions of the game can be traced to ancient civilizations, where people played with a ball made of animal bladders, leather, or stitched cloth, kicking and carrying it in competitive matches that often had cultural or religious significance. In ancient China, a game known as Cuju, documented as far back as the Han Dynasty around 200 BCE, involved kicking a leather ball into a small net without using the hands, which shares similarities to modern football. Cuju was played by soldiers for military training, but it also became a popular pastime for the general public. Ancient Greece and Rome had their own versions, such as episkairos and harpestum, which were rougher, allowed handling of the ball, and often involved large numbers of players in chaotic contests. These ancient games were not standardized and varied widely depending on local customs and available materials, but they planted the seeds of the idea that kicking a ball in competition could bring people together and excite communities. During the Middle Ages in Europe, a violent and unruly form of football emerged, often referred to as mob football, where entire villages would compete against each other with the aim of moving a ball to a specific goal, often located miles apart, using any means necessary except murder. These games could last for hours or even days, involved dozens or hundreds of participants, and frequently caused damage to property and injury to players. In England, where this medieval football thrived, the game was so disruptive that it was banned multiple times by kings such as Edward II and Edward III in the 14th century, who feared it distracted men from practicing archery, a vital military skill at the time. Despite the bans, football persisted among the lower classes, played in fields, streets, and open countryside, evolving slowly over centuries. By the 18th and 19th centuries, football began to take on a more organized form, particularly in England's public schools such as Eton, Harrow, Rugby, and Westminster, where boys played their own versions of the game with unique local rules. Some allowed carrying the ball by hand, as at rugby, while others restricted it to kicking only. This lack of uniformity became problematic when schools or clubs from different towns wanted to compete against each other, as they could not agree on a common set of rules. The Industrial Revolution in the 19th century accelerated the spread of football. Urbanization brought people into cities, and factory owners and community leaders began to encourage organized sport as a way to promote health, discipline, and teamwork among workers. Railways allowed teams to travel and play matches against distant opponents, while newspapers began to report on matches, fueling public interest. It became clear that a standardized rule set was necessary. In 1863, representatives from several football clubs and schools met at the Freemasons' Tavern in London to create a unified code of rules, giving birth to the Football Association, FA. One major decision made during these meetings was to ban the use of hands, solidifying the distinction between association football and rugby football. This marked the formal beginning of modern football as we know it today. The FIS rules quickly spread beyond England to Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, and clubs began to form in industrial towns and cities, giving rise to fierce local rivalries. Early matches were often rough, but as referees and linesmen were introduced, the game became more regulated and disciplined. The first official international football match took place in 1872 between Scotland and England, ending in a goalless draw. By the late 19th century, football had begun its global journey. British sailors, traders, and workers took the game abroad, introducing it to countries in Europe, South America, Africa, and Asia. In Argentina and Uruguay, British expatriates founded the first football clubs, and the game quickly captured the imagination of the locals. Brazil, which would later become the most successful footballing nation in history, was introduced to the sport in the 1890s by Charles William Miller, a Brazilian of British descent who returned from his schooling in England with a football and a rulebook. In continental Europe, countries like Italy, Spain, France, and Germany embraced the sport, forming their own leagues and national federations. The early 20th century saw football's organization at an international level with the founding of FIFA, Fédération Internationale de Football Association, in Paris in 1904 by representatives from Belgium, Denmark, France, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. FIFA aimed to oversee international competition and ensure consistent rules worldwide. Football was included in the Olympic Games in 1900 and 1904, but the most significant milestone came in 1930 with the inaugural FIFA World Cup, hosted by Uruguay. 13 teams participated, and the hosts emerged as champions, defeating Argentina in the final. The World Cup instantly became the most prestigious competition in international football, held every 4 years, except during World War II, and showcasing the best players and teams from around the globe. Throughout the 20th century, football evolved not just as a sport, but as a cultural phenomenon. Legendary players emerged, leaving indelible marks on the game. Pelé of Brazil, who won 3 World Cups and became a global icon. Diego Maradona of Argentina, whose skill, creativity, and controversial Hand of God goal in 1986 cemented his place in history. Johan Cruyff of the Netherlands, who revolutionized tactics with total football. Franz Beckenbauer of Germany, the elegant sweeper who led his team to World Cup glory. And countless others who inspired generations. Club football also grew in stature, with famous teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, AC Milan, and Liverpool, building massive fan bases and competing in prestigious tournaments like the European Cup, later rebranded as the UEFA Champions League. The tactics, formations, and playing styles of football have undergone continual evolution. Early formations like the 2-3-5 pyramid gave way to more defensive systems and to balanced shapes like the 4-4-2, and more recently to fluid, possession-based setups such as the 4-3-3 and 3-5-2. Managers like Rinus Michels, Arrigo Sacchi, Sir Alex Ferguson, Pep Guardiola, and Jurgen Klopp have left tactical legacies that influence the sport at every level. Football has also been shaped by technological and regulatory changes. The introduction of substitutions, yellow and red cards in the 1970 World Cup, goal line technology in the 2010s, and the video assistant referee VAR system to review controversial decisions. These innovations aim to make the game fairer, though they have also sparked debates about the balance between tradition and modernity. Football's cultural influence extends far beyond the pitch. It has the power to unite nations in moments of triumph and joy, as seen when South Africa hosted the 2010 World Cup, bringing together a country with a troubled racial history. It can also reflect and influence politics, such as the football war between El Salvador and Honduras in 1969, triggered partly by tensions surrounding World Cup qualifying matches. Football stars have become global ambassadors, using their platforms to advocate for social change, support charities, and inspire youth. The sport's accessibility, requiring little more than a ball and some open space, has made it a source of hope and opportunity in impoverished communities worldwide. In the modern era, football has become a multi-billion-dollar industry, with top clubs generating enormous revenues from broadcasting rights, sponsorships, and merchandising. The English Premier League, Spain's La Liga, Italy's Serie A, Germany's Bundesliga, and France's Ligue 1 attract global audiences, with matches watched live by millions around the world. Players like Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo have dominated the sport in recent decades, breaking scoring records and amassing huge fan followings. The FIFA Women's World Cup has also grown significantly, showcasing the skill and athleticism of female players and inspiring new generations. Football has also adapted to the demands of globalization and media. The sport is now covered extensively online and on television, with highlights, interviews, and analysis available instantly to fans everywhere. Social media allows direct interaction between players and fans, building stronger connections, but also exposing athletes to greater scrutiny. The game continues to grapple with challenges such as racism, corruption scandals within governing bodies, and debates over the influence of money on competition fairness. Yet, despite its commercialization and controversies, football's essence remains unchanged. At its heart, it is still about the joy of the game, the thrill of scoring a goal, the camaraderie among teammates, and the shared passion of fans chanting in unison. From the muddy pitches of Sunday league matches to the perfectly manicured fields of the World Cup final, football connects people in a way few other things can. It is played in refugee camps, on beaches, in alleys, and in the most advanced stadiums, bridging languages, cultures, and continents. The story of football is one of continuous growth, adaptation, and global love. From ancient ball-kicking games to today's high-tech spectacles, it has endured wars, political upheavals, and social change, always emerging stronger and more beloved. It is a game that can break hearts and create lifelong memories, where a single moment of brilliance can change history. As long as there are people who want to run, pass, and kick a ball for the pure joy of competition, football will remain not just the world's most popular sport, but a shared cultural treasure that belongs to everyone.